Hello and welcome to the Band of One podcast. I am Riley Wilson. This podcast is designed for anybody that wants to start, grow, or polish an existing solo or small group performing career. I've got over 50 years of live performance experience and will include not only my tips, but also the suggestions for other hardworking professionals in their neck of the woods. The idea here is to make this actionable, fun, and entertaining, and hopefully allow you to end up making more money in the process. If you like what we do, be sure and like and subscribe and share the podcast with others. Let's get busy. Mine with my good buddy Walt Pitts. Walt, welcome again.
Hello.
I tripped over my tongue there again. So one of the things that we didn't have a chance to talk about in the last one is I'd like to talk about the whole solo career and when you decided to start doing that, because it sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, when you get back from music school, move back to Arizona, that you're working, but you're working with other musicians. Is that correct?
Well, that's actually, I did start solo, but I started as a jazz guitar player, jazz solo guitar player, a la Joe Pass,
Oh,
Benny. So I would play those tunes in the corner playing jazz guitar. So I did. I aspired to do that, man. I was 20, I guess, when I got back to GIT. So I landed some gigs. I would just pound the pavement and, there was, I always found my own way. I would find these gigs just and I started out out on the street in Mill Avenue playing jazz guitar. I would get tips, to start playing and teach guitar, a little bit of teaching. But then I had a friend who gave me some more teaching clients, and I decided I've been to GIT, I've been to MCC, Mesa Community. I started as a waiter. I was waiting on tables, did a lot of that. And then was done with MCC. I just stopped for a while and just would practice, work on stuff. And then I took some private lessons with a guy named Chuck Moronic, who was the jazz professor at ASU. Chuck was good friends with Joe DiOrio. So I was about ready to have my child, Ben, Lori and I, and was like, Chuck, do you think I can make a living playing jazz? He said, and he gave me great advice. I didn't take it though, which was if I was going to be a jazz player, man, if you're going to play jazz, you're going to play jazz. Get a vocation, maybe do keys, do something else, so you can devote to the craft. And anyway, it gave me a scholarship to go to ASU from there. So, but I met him prior. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I knew Chuck prior to going to GIT. I took some improv classes and blew my mind. It's like, oh my gosh. Went to GIT, came back. He knew me, so they gave me the scholarship, and he's the guy who hooked me up with an agency. It was like the first time I worked for a music agency. Thank goodness for that. Within that too, I had another friend who was a jazz major who taught me guitar years ago. I took some jazz lessons and we would jam together before I went off to GIT. He was one of my jamming buddies, and he's a great guitar player. He became an engineer, still a great player, and now he's playing again, right? His career's done. So he had turned me on to some other musicians to play with. So that's how I got in the marimba. Back then it was a marimba and steel drum. And this guy used a drum machine, right? It's the first time I'd ever, so I was like, wow. So I really didn't do, for many years, I just did corporate as a blur, at this point, because I did so many, it was just teaching and playing gigs, casuals, and I'd get these marimba gigs and steel drum gigs I'm playing guitar with. And so I was kind of going back and forth between a band and then someone that used like some support, like some sort of support to their playing, which
mhm.
ah, and I struggle with it because I was a purist, right, in the beginning, but I learned to appreciate it, and I've had to like I've had to like chill out and get off of the tower, like I was a guy like I was a pure, man. spent all this time. I had to like, and I'm grateful I've been able to just stop with that, and enjoy, because it could be frustrating, it's not necessarily how good you are, it's the how you fit. So, and I was lucky with, it just sustained me working with those trios and whatnot, and the duos and casual gig. I just can't, sorry, it's kind of a blur because I've done so much of it through the years. I have like two careers. So I, my friend JT is the guy I did these, did a lot with. He's the one who started with the sequencing, got more into sequencing and the MC50 typing. We wouldn't even do MIDI file with just typing stuff. So I started to do that, and I did get some tracks, and it's tedious. I don't even, hours and hours. They're good though. I mean, they're original. I mean, they're like people that listen to them go, "What do you do all day?" They're high quality.
Yeah.
They don't matter per se. They matter to me, and I'm proud of them, but they don't matter for work. They don't, if you want to make income, it just doesn't, it's just not there. Other than certain environments, like the environment I'm in, I do have people that do notice because they appreciate the skills that you've taken the time to do that.
Sure.
So through that, I'd get a few solo gigs, instrumental, and I worked through agencies through the years. So I'd start to get more of the Southwest gigs. So they were solo by myself, you do them. And then I was working at the Four Seasons. I'm probably skipping over stuff, but so I'm dabbling in solo. I'm still doing the group stuff, kind of back and forth. There's a couple of years because I have my career. I have a career at this one property. That's been a career. So it's like 23 years. But prior to that, I'm dabbling in both. And then I get this steady gig at the Doubletree, and it's a contract. It's my first solo steady gig. Was I scared to death? And I didn't sing on the gig. There was no singing. It was all background guitar, class, just playing guitar. And I
Sure.
had my
Sure.
tracks. I built my tracks up and whatnot. Never really sang on that gig. I did a little bit in the end, but I think I had it like 2 or 3 years. And then I did the Princess. I did some resorts. I'd get these solo gigs doing this. I'm bouncing around different places doing, and there was nothing booked directly. And I did get some work through like gig. I think I was with Gig Salad. I did some and
Hmm.
Gig
Yeah.
Masters a little bit. Then at the Four Seasons, I've been there, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, back and forth. And there's a revolving door of musicians. And with the Doubletree too, they were booked through an agency, signed the contracts, and my goal was to go direct. Can I book direct? Because I know at least if people want to get rid of me, I can't give them what they want. There's not other things in the thing, and I can actually assess things better instead of you going through a second person. If you can go directly to management staff, to get a real sense of what's going on, you can give better service. So, and it pays better. It's a
Sure.
better. It's like you're working for yourself. Even with the agencies, you're really working for yourself, but you're not making that.
That's true.
And you know something? It's more their reputation than yours. So you're not even able to build your clientele, or I wasn't. I could not promote myself on these gigs.
Yeah.
So
Let me
so
ask you a question about that because did you ever take any sales classes or marketing things or anything at all like that? Or how did you? Because there are a lot of people that are naturally resistant. I'm not a real fan of getting on the phone and calling people or dropping by and saying, "Hey, you should hire me. I'm really good." How were you able to overcome that, or did you have a background with that?
really simple. I wanted to make a living playing, so I read a lot of Zig Ziglar books, sales books. I read management. I never took a management class. Never took any of that. I just like, how do I get better at selling? How do I sell this? How do I talk? How do I and they they helped me. They really did help me. I think it's the cool the era we're in now, man, because it's like right here, like you can get it all so easy. Back then, it's like you had to read the I had highlighted books. I wish I would have kept them all. I didn't, but it's like I just and they did. They helped. It helped me. And I was around successful players that were selling. It's like it rubs off on you. There was good. It was a.
A
It's
lot of
frustrating,
people, a lot of people that have never been to Arizona, and particularly the Phoenix, Tempe, just the whole metro area there, have no clue how much work there really is. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of resorts, and it seems like there's something going on there pretty much year round all the time. Am I right?
that's what's so cool. So I always had a gig in the summers, right? Even though it was hot, my claim to fame, what I always love to spout is I played on the hottest day in Arizona and Phoenix. It's in the 90s, I think. They had to shut down the airport, and I was playing outside at the Hyatt Regency with that steel drum band, JT and Eddie Katz, and we were playing out. The LEDs on the effect unit didn't work anymore and stuff like that. I think I had a gig after that, like a casual gig. So, but there's work there now. That work is not there anymore per se like that, but it's still there's work. I mean, there's
Sure, sure.
opportunity here. Yeah,
Sure. And of course, there's you talk about great musicians, Howard Roberts, who with Pat
yeah,
Hicks
up there. Yeah,
started GIT, one of the great session players and jazz players of all time, was from Phoenix.
yeah.
And it's interesting because again, there's a lot of that there. One of the questions that I did have about this, once you start marketing yourself and doing things, you have a lot of video and you do a lot of video. Where did video enter the picture for you?
I took a lot of I do take a lot of classes. So I did a lot of mentorship classes. I've taken like video classes, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years. I didn't understand it, so I liked it. Unfortunately, like GIT days, I didn't carry a camera. I never did that. I had to like learn how to like using the phone now is great, but back then I do have some other cameras I work with, and they're laying. If you go to my YouTube channel, those first YouTube videos are set like the first few years is like they are like what? But I put them up anyway. I didn't care. It's like, but I would take classes. So through the years, I've taken, oh my gosh, so many courses on that. Great thing is now, you take all those courses, now it's like these great camera. This is a breakthrough. These Pocket Osmo and our phone is even forget this. The phone. A lot of my videos are cell phone, and so. But that's where I
Yeah.
learned it, and I've taken, and I've done tutorials, and I've invested a lot in coaching too. I do coach. I've done mentorships through the years with different people that have helped keep me on track a bit, helped me and given me tools that have helped. So I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars of in just mentorship, people that are better than me, that understand, can get me where I want to go, help me, or even give me ideas.
But
So
you're helping people that want to do what you and I do as well, and coaching people along the guitar path as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I try to do that. That's my aspiration is just to share it with others and
Well,
help.
I've said several times in this podcast the reason I did this is I had a knee replacement and a hip replacement in about 4 years, and talking. I had actually when we first moved to Frisco in 1996. I had a steakhouse gig every weekend, and I wandered around with the Ovation and a headset microphone, and I enjoyed that. Toward the end of it, I got tired of it because it just really was grueling. There
Yeah,
were some weeks they would do a Wednesday night, and then they'd do a wine dinner Thursday and Friday and Saturday. By Sunday, my left hand was like ground beef.
yeah,
I was whipped because playing acoustic guitar for that long a time, and I couldn't hear because we really weren't using an amplifier. It was
yeah.
grueling, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to do all of that.
It's
Um,
hard.
and talking about video and stuff, you've got a lot of that. By the way, what is the web page?
For what?
What's your web page?
My website's primevibemusic.com is the website. You can Google Walt Pitts music, it'll come up. Prime Vibe Music. I'm probably more prolific on YouTube these days. I'm really trying to build that channel up, and I'm giving stuff, I'm sharing tips. I've been sharing tips on there and performances, and also I have a for a Jumpstart program. It's called getsologigs.com. It's like a landing page people can go to. And the links are on the socials. If you do Walt Pitts music or whatever, or searching Chat GPT or whatever, I'll come up and you can
I'll
find.
be sure and have this on the video when it goes live on YouTube, and so we can definitely do that. You talk about spending lots of money on gear and equipment. I'm looking at some of the equipment back there. Do you want to talk about some of the tools you use on your shows?
Yeah, so right now I have a pretty basic setup, and I've got actually a video on YouTube that's a year old, but it's pretty much what I'm doing now. A lot of these I don't even take out right now. The Ovation I take out now, and I have a Bose S1, very teeny tiny. I have a very simple setup right now. I'm really blessed, and it's like, dude, it's like I have a I have like three different PAs. I can take out the new Bose S1 Plus, S1 Pro Plus is fantastic for just the type of work I'm doing, simple work, and it's got the wire. I have a wireless transmitter, a wireless guitar, and XLR for the vocals transmitters. The receivers are built into the PA. It's teeny tiny, but it covers the rooms that I'm in as well as the bigger PAs. So
Isn't that a
that's
great blessing? You and my buddy Freddie Tripp down in South Carolina, he uses that thing all the time, and Freddie's been playing actually longer than I have, and
it's
he loves the
easier to.
Bose.
Yeah, and it's just simple, but I do have, and I've made myself through the years do bigger things. Like I have and I do love it, the JBL Eon Pro. It's battery powered. I've always tried to have battery powered stuff because, so I don't have like, yeah, it's like to be mobile, just to be able to go set up wherever you got. I try to be super low maintenance for everybody. Like like come in, you come out, just do your thing. But yeah, and then I have an Eon, the other JBL. I really like the JBL stuff. I might like the sound better, but I just fell in love with this Bose unit, and it's teeny tiny. I mean, it's just so small. Then I can literally put it on a speaker stand. It covers the room as well as anything else I've used. And I can take it off the stand. It's so easy to carry. You move it around with you, and you're wireless. So it's like, so I need to buy another one just to have it, you know, if
I
I need.
use the EV stuff like that, and if I could do it again, I'd probably have two of the Everse 8s. The funny
Yeah.
story
Okay.
about that I heard, and this is on the Sweetwater page describing it, there's a guy who's playing gigs, solo gigs in Nashville in a wheelchair.
Oh, that's awesome.
He
Wow.
check this out. He got a ticket for disturbing the peace and had to go before court in Nashville to plead his
Oh,
case.
goodness sakes. That's
Using a battery powered speaker on a wheelchair,
oh,
moving around in downtown Nashville.
that's
Uh,
crazy.
and I mean, there of course there are thousands of stories like that, but I think one of the great things nowadays is that gear is a lot smaller. Do you have
Yeah.
a favorite vocal microphone that you use?
Yeah, I do actually, and I don't know the name of. I've got it up here. Bear with me. I've got it. I've got
Sure.
another like set up. I don't know if it's on there. It's a Shure. On I do have on those YouTube videos. I have a link to all my gear on there. That's a kit link. KSM 8, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
I love it because I'm an SM58 guy. I love those. And I love it with the switch. I love the switch.
Yeah.
This does sound a little bit better, and it has a little bit more range. You don't have to be quite as precise with it. So I love this thing, and it's I think 300, $400. So I
Yeah.
have a couple of them, and I just
The reason I ask that is that those of us that have been singing for any time, my buddy David Payton in Atlanta is the same thing. He's gone through a couple of different mics. I'm using for most of my gigs a blue Encore 300. That's a condenser mic. And I love that because also being a voice talent, I got a Neumann TLM 102 in my booth that I use for my voiceovers, and they work really, really well. But again, I think anybody that's going to be singing, you can do the SM58. By the way, one of the things I've noticed, and I think it must be in their writer, Chicago, after all these years, they still use SM58s for their vocal mics.
I think that, well, I can only speak for myself on this. This is what I know works for me. Mono for all tracks.
Hmm.
Don't need a perfect mix. And I super simple mixes too. I mean, it's like I don't even put guitar in my mixes. Usually I just have drum or percussion, little bit of bass, some sort of bass and maybe a pad. That's it. I never do any vocal. I did the harmony vocal stuff, all that. I've given up. I don't even need it. It's like it's almost harder for me to perform with all that stuff than having just a simple groove or just looping. Like I've done the looping bit, trying to get all fancy with that, and I do use a lot of looping. This is a trick for all you guitar players for looping, by the way, that I found. If you can get a looper that's 90 seconds or, ideally 3 to 4 minutes, what I've learned is you don't got to loop the whole tune before you start, man. Just play a little intro. Once you start singing, hit the loop. When you're done singing, when you're done with your verse and chorus or whatever, when you're done, play, you can blow over that whole tune again and then come back in wherever you want. And it's like, that was a breakthrough for me, and it's silly, but I didn't never thought about that till someone mentioned it. So,
Well,
so
let
that,
me ask that question because we haven't really discussed this. You use tracks, but you use looping, and I'm also assuming you play some solo pieces as well, right?
yeah, I can do a cappella, the,
What would a typical gig, what would you be doing with all of that, Walt?
gosh, it just depends. Usually the gig I'm at now, I usually start out with some sambas or a bossa off of La
Okay.
Citage or stuff, and they're tracks I've done. Oh my gosh, I didn't even use. They could have been Band in a Box or something I did punching numbers in. I don't even remember. Like some of these are, or I'll just. And usually I'm fortunate because I can improvise a lot, so I'm in a space to where I will actually just improvise and then get into the tune.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'll do some vocals, getting a sense for the room, unless it's like, okay, people want singing now, then I'll just start singing. And I don't know, it's funny. I have a lot of people I look in the room and go, oh, that person likes that too. People like certain tunes. I've been there so long. I actually know more people by a song than their names. So I really do. So
Let me ask another question along these lines when you're doing these kinds of gigs. Obviously, you've learned to read a room, but you've got a lot of material. I mean, how many songs are there that you would take on a gig that you could pull out if either you want to do it or the audience wants to hear it?
I really don't know, to tell you the truth. And I think since I've started singing, I might have less that I do. Like instrumentally, I did instrumentally, oh my gosh. Because I used to do instrumentals, so I just play melody and have the track, and it worked great too.
Sure.
Vocally, I probably have 200 tunes, 50, 250, I don't know. And of course I can read on the gig too, so
But
I
you've
have
got what looks like to me 400 or 500 songs on the web
probably
page
do.
because the instrumental stuff, the
Yeah,
vocal stuff, the all the different things.
yeah.
And I'm going to be devil's advocate. Has that been a help, Walt?
What's that? Has
Has
that?
that been helpful to have all that kind of material?
Um, Probably has, I guess, to have the versatility, but I don't do all those tunes now. I'm just, I should probably update the song list. I can do them, I can wing my way through most of that stuff. So, but the cool thing about getting more vocally is it definitely narrowed things down for me a little bit. It helped with certain tunes that really work well. Vocals really helped a lot, singing a lot. Instrumentally, because I could just play melody. It's a lot easier for me to do melody because that's my background, so I could learn a tune fairly quickly and just play by ear and whatnot. So So, but vocally, I got to spend some time, man, like getting a little bit more proficient in the lyrics and whatnot. So,
Hmm.
but
So
yeah,
what's
I do have through the, yeah, it's just,
perfect segue? Do you use some of the things like stage tracks or something like that where it's got the lyrics and the all of that stuff on there? You
I
just
do. And I don't care what anybody says. It's like people get upset about, and I used to be one of those. I memorized everything. I'm glad I did memorize stuff because it's helped instrumentally. Like, I don't really read any guitar charts or anything. Somehow I'm able to memorize that stuff. But lyrics I do read, and I have no shame in it either. It's like because that's you pick your battles, man. You
I
just can't.
love that.
You
I
just have
love
to
that.
like. It's like, and I'm glad. And just for those out there thinking that you got to memorize stuff, that's one of the things that held me back on my solo gigs. I thought I had to memorize everything. I did have some lyrics, but I was very self-conscious about having to read on the gig. That was like a no-no. Like, and I was trained that way, with a lot of the bands, I had to learn everything by ear to do it. So, but yeah, I think what a blessing to have an iPad, man, or some did tablet. And I love it. I love stage tracks, and I've used OnSong is what I came from. Stage tracks I really love because I can have the lyrics and the backing track within the same app, so I've got everything in there, and
When you're actually, I don't know if you do this anymore or not, if you're going to create something in like a band in a box or something like that, do you then mix it down into Logic or something like that, or you just
I
do
know
it after
something.
band?
So you talk about simplicity.
Yeah.
I used to do all that. I used to master. I've got plugins galore, and I've spent hours on tracks. Now I don't do that anymore. What I do and I love Band of the Box. It's still the most, you really just get some really nice, it's kind of like throwing paint on the wall in a way, and you get some really nice simple arrangements.
Yeah.
And especially if you update it and you get the real band stuff, it's incredible. I mean,
Real tracks are really amazing.
and they're like the greatest musicians in the world. I mean, it's like, I will not make my own tracks. I refuse to do it because I can't do that good. I can't get it like that. So why even, I, I'm glad I've done it. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
but I'm smart enough to go, you don't need to do that, to work on something else, to do it. Like video or promo, oh my gosh, in the era we're in now, it's like so much of that's more than the music part. But with Band in a Box, I just do, like I said, I mix down mono, and there's an option in there to normalize. I just have it normalized. That's it. That's all I do. I don't even, and if I have to do more, I won't, I would do, and I haven't used it. I do have it. I subscribed to a Jam Zone, but I haven't had a situation where I felt good using it in my gigs. Like it just doesn't fit. I haven't got it to fit. I am a proponent of being able to play within the track. I mean, that's a skill set that, like, to be able to play within whatever you got, whether it's your tracks or the room, right? You're trying to fit into something, not dominate it or take it
Sure.
over.
Sure.
So I don't know if that help,
I think
a
that
lot of instrumental. I do a lot with and without backing tracks, but I really did start my career like solo, really get deep in solo was backing tracks. And I did them all the time, and I was afraid not use them.
yeah.
And the coolest thing is through the years, I mean, I've loosened up a lot. So it used to be, I will try different stuff out now. It's like instead of doing it this way, let's do that. Like you're talking about with your tracks, doing
Yeah.
acoustic guitar mix and then your electric guitar, and
Yeah.
and I make myself do songs that, like, I'll do at this high-end restaurant, Creep, right? This tune,
A Radiohead.
yeah, it's like, and I'll be darned if it's like something I would never do. These are tunes I would never ever do. So, and And I got to be careful, I kind of sense when I can do it and do it, and it worked great. It's great to do that.
It's so funny because a lot of tunes, I'm the same way. I'm reticent to work up a lot of new material
Yeah.
because I don't know if it's going to last or not. And of course, if you're creating tracks for it, you have to spend all of this time to
Yeah,
do it.
it's like,
Sometimes it's worth doing it or not. But there are a lot of songs that are like that. It took me for years to work up Wonderwall, and I did that. Everybody
yeah,
loves that silly song.
yeah. So,
There are many tunes like that. Creep, I think, is probably one of probably a couple hundred songs out there like that that you work up and go, why wasn't I playing this 5 years ago?
and I don't even do, to tell you the truth, this is how little I do tracks. That tune I do acoustically, and
Yeah.
I can do a nice groove with the guitar, and I loop it and just blow over it. And yeah, I could do, and I think for all the upcoming solo players, Jam Zone is pretty amazing product if you can mix it right. The only trouble I have with it is you really can't customize the sound. You're pretty much you're going to sound like a cover band maybe a little bit. Too
Yeah.
much for me. Like I can't. I haven't been able to do. I'm not much of a cover band type of person. I got to kind of put my little spin on it one way or another, which
Well, that helps you to work because you don't sound like
yes, it
anybody
does.
else. You sound like Walt Pitts.
Yeah, and then the great thing is with the voice, right? I don't have a high pitch, but I just change keys. I put it where I can sing it and don't struggle. I used to really push it, but I don't do that anymore. And it's, we all have our people that like what we do and those that don't. So it's like you're not gonna you can't make everybody happy.
That's true.
Can I interject in here with
Absolutely,
trying
please.
things out? So the gig I've been at 23 years, right? I'm playing 5 nights a week right now. I average, I don't even know the number through the years. It's been a real blessing to have it. One reason I got the gig, people kind of laugh, but I know it's true. Before I got that gig, I was playing at the Four Seasons and really struggling, with uh, I'm playing for the agencies, and I'm don't mean to talk bad about agencies. I'm grateful for the work they've given me. I'm grateful for, but I was really frustrated. I felt like I should be working more. I've worked hard. Want to do this. At the Four Seasons, I don't know. I bought a hat. I had a hat in my car that I was afraid to wear, and I put it in my front seat. And I'm serious. I had this hat in my, I keep saying a year. I don't really know how long it was, but I had this black hat sitting. Literally, I was scared to death to put this on. And when I put it on at the Four Seasons, that night I got a $100 tip, my first $100 tip. And people started talking to me. It's like in 2 weeks. So I did that. I was doing the weekends. I think I did 2 nights a week there, Four Seasons. So 2 weeks. And then I got a call from one of the agencies that would book me at the Four Seasons. I got a call from someone that used to work for the agent. She had her own she had her own, she was a flower shop. Walt, I'm calling you because I know that you will work with me with price. I know you're really easy to work with because I've worked cheaper, I think, than other people. I will go out of my way to work. Hey, I have this job. It's at Expo. Can you do this? So I go up to do this gig. I'm thinking, and I'm pricing, I guess, cheaper than someone else or whatever. Do the gig, I'm wearing the hat. People are loving it. I meet John Diodario there, like the string guy.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
like magical, like these times. It's like, what? Hey, and then I get a call from the guy, hey, they really like you. Do you want to do their restaurant they're opening, Constantino's? Sure, okay. Do the opening or whatever. I think it's the grand opening and get that. Oh, they really get the call. They really love you. Would you like to start working there? It's 5 nights a week.
Wow.
And I still had a gig at the Four Seasons, but it's the hat. I've worn this hat. Everything kind of shifted with this hat I wore. I told her what I needed, and this is what pays to be good to people and not to burn bridges. This gal, she had she literally said, I can't make any money with you with me with you signing with me, so I'm going to let you go direct. So I signed my contracts direct with the property.
Wow.
And I did that for 2 years or 3 years. And I was breaking the contract because they were actually giving me more work. Take it as it is. People may think I'm stupid, but I have not signed a contract.
Well, a
So,
lot of times, if you're working with people, you don't have to do that. I
yeah,
worked with a restaurateur here in Frisco for 3 years, and I just said, "Hey, look, I'll do this. If you like what I do, I'll stay." And we did that for 3 years, and it worked out great. And I
yep,
think as long as you're honest and you're a person of your word, um,
yeah.
a cool hat doesn't hurt,
The
right?
hat, look, I wear every gig I do, I wear the hat. Now that's been 23, 24 years ago. I wear the hat. I don't even think I've done a gig. I've gotten to where I will not put the hat on till after I set up a lot of times now, just to go, hey, I'm a real person. But I'm known for the hat. That's what I've worn. And that, I do. I firmly believe, and I know it's so funny. It's a joke, for the solo musicians wearing the hat, but for some reason, and I do think part of that too is prior to that, like the double tree, I think back, there was a complaint with, solo guitar said there's not enough entertainment value. So somehow a hat's visual enough, and it helped me get out of my shell like a little bit too. It helped me to, I'm kind of known at this property for, like, I go around the tables. I don't do it all the time, but I used to, especially when I was there that first 10 years, like in the environment. I would put the guitar down and I'd go around every table and check, say hi. Is the volume okay for you here? Is the music? Because I was like part of, and you get people turn it up, turn it down, So, so volume is like, that really is like a key
Yeah.
factor for me has been, and sometimes I have to hold myself back, even though I want to go harder. I think it could be
Sure.
louder. And then inevitably, if I go, oh, it's here, it's actually down lower. So it's like,
Yeah.
so
I don't think you're ever given a hard time by not being loud enough unless it's a rock bar and you and I
actually,
aren't doing those kinds of places, right?
actually, I do have one. I do my best work with some people on me. Like, just, I gotta hate them. So I just prove them wrong. It does not matter. It's like I will. So I did. I have one member who's a key member, Leo Hauser up there, who's still up there. He would yell at me, "Turn it up, turn it." Oh, Leo, I can't. And back then, I didn't know how to interact with that. So through the years, he helped me be able to handle that situation. I eventually had to like yell at him, chill out, dude. We became friends after that, but he helped me play better too because he was always listening to me. Like,
That's
you never know. I will say this: you never know who's listening to you. You really, and I've had people that it may be 10. Walt, I've been listening to you for 15 years. And I just want to tell you how much I love your playing, and they
wow.
know that.
You know what?
You
That's
know,
all you can ask for. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. You've been listening to the Band of One podcast with my old friend Walt Pitts. I'm Riley Wilson, and thanks for being a part of this one. If you like what we do, be sure and like and subscribe it. And if you've got ideas for a future podcast, get in touch with me through my webpage, guitarmadesimpler.com. Once again, your webpage, sir, is
primevibemusic.com, or go to my YouTube channel, Walt Pitts, at Walt Pitts would be great. And getsologigs.com if you want to do a jumpstart session with me, 30-minute.
fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. I'm Riley Wilson for the Band of One podcast.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Riley.